So this is truly disturbing. This pair of arrests were made at our southern border just days ago. Border Patrol believes that these two women, these two American citizens, both of them, tried to smuggle two little girls across the border. They were nabbed at a checkpoint in Westmoreland, California. The 10 and 12-year-old girls from Mexico, asleep in the back seat. But the agents quickly realized that these were not their children. These were not their relatives. Nothing matched on the names or IDs as they scanned for information on these individuals. These women face smuggling charges, and it happened at the El Centro sector of the border. Gregory Bovino is the sector's chief patrol agent, and he says that it is almost unbearable to think what heinous crime awaited these little girls. Chief, thank you very much for being here. This is a story that we have covered a lot as we have seen these different examples. Is it your contention that these women are working, they're American citizens working for Mexican cartels and part of a smuggling operation? Is that the charge?
Yes, Martha, and good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Undoubtedly, these two United States citizens are working for the cartels. The cartels control just about everything on the south side of that border. So undoubtedly, they were working for cartels. And I think it's important to realize that a cartel or a human smuggler will stop at nothing to make a profit, including smuggling unaccompanied juveniles north for unknown reasons.
So one of the disturbing things that we've talked about here was during the Biden administration, the effort to push these kids out of the shelters and basically allow them to leave with anyone who said, you know, I'm here to pick up these kids. That's the suggestion. And Madeline Rowley reported on this for the Free Press, and we spoke to her for my podcast a while back. But here's a quote from a whistleblower who said, I had multiple cases that I reported on. One in particular where we sent 329 children to one address, 2 garden apartments in Houston, Texas. And then the supervisor told this whistleblower to take no steps to investigate further, but to keep moving migrants out of the facilities more quickly. Does this scenario line up with what you have seen in your part of the border?
Sure, Martha, whenever you have a border catastrophe or a border crisis, I use those two words interchangeably. You could probably use any word and I would agree with you there. But a border catastrophe in which millions of illegal aliens are pouring across that border, absolutely kids are going to be lost in the shuffle of that millions of people. Here in the El Centro sector, we saw some very heinous acts of child smuggling that we did uncover, but what about the ones that we didn't? What about those children that we didn't uncover that are somewhere in the United States right now, having God knows what happening to them?
That is so true. And I think that's one of the really important things to remember as we see the numbers at the border drop a lot, which is a huge, a great development. So many of these children are still here. They're still here somewhere in this country. In cases living with people that they don't know and likely sold into human trafficking and sex trade. And, so just as an example, do you know what happened to these 2 little girls that were asleep in the backseat of this car in this case?
Sure. In this case, the 2 children now reside with Office of Refugee and Resettlement, and we hope to find family members suitable for them to be reunited with. But that's often not the case, as you said, with these other children that are in the United States. And, just some of the things, Martha, we've seen on the border just last year, just a few months ago, we had a young juvenile, approximately 4 years old, was drugged, pushed across the border, and we caught him at the same traffic checkpoint that these 2 juveniles were caught or rescued last Tuesday, except that 4-year-old that was drugged actually had non-surgical sutures in his abdomen. We took the child to the hospital, had the sutures removed, but it begs the question, what's happening to these children? And I think that it's a larger conversation. I'm glad you're covering this today because real-time information from the border over those past 4 years was virtually non-existent.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a story we need to continue to dig into, and there needs to be an active operation to find these children. Some of them are working in sweatshops, and some of them are in sex trafficking operations. And Greg Bovino, we thank you very much for what you're doing to crack down on this and to continue to bring attention to it in El Centro, the Chief Patrol Agent. Thank you very much, Chief. Good to have you here today.
Thank you, Martha.
You bet.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.